what's going on? Welcome along to episode 38 of the Strategy and Conversions podcast. I'm Jamie Michael Joseph, and as always, I'm joined by Mark Tanner.
Hello.
Now, Mark, I guess we better start off by saying this is going to sound really weird because we're recording this before, but the podcast comes out after Christmas.
Yes.
And I just realized that we didn't even wish everyone a Merry Christmas.
We didn't.
So
we didn't.
we hope you had a great one.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, it was a week before Christmas, so we didn't mention to have a good one, but we know you would, and yeah, just to say, look, we hope you had a great Christmas, and if you're listening to this in between that period of Christmas and New Year, you're awesome. You're going to benefit from this episode because we're going to be talking about planning out your 2022.
Yeah.
Or more, I guess to sum up in a better way, look, what is the plan? I think that's the thing. That ask yourself, what is the plan? Because I think that's where it all kind of starts from, right? I mean, we spoke about it that, whilst we're recording this, yesterday we did your mindset and goal setting workshop, winning the game. And a lot of that was focused around that whole kind of daydreaming part to start with.
Yeah.
Look, what is it you actually want?
Yeah, exactly.
So I think we have to look at that, as our starting point.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. So I think that's true because what's changed? I think that's the big thing, isn't it? You went through 2021, and however 2021 went, and so and again, I know that you talked previously about how things had to change because of the pandemic and everything, and people changed drastically. They had to change drastically what they were doing, and they were forced to. So now you need to look back and think, well, I've made this change, but is that really what I want? Or can I now think about changing things again, more in line with what I really, really want? And so 2022, I think it is that kind of, well, how do I want it to be? What would I like to do in 2022? And again, like a lot of mentors I've had in the past, the first thing a couple of my mentors do is they say, right, well, where am I going on holiday? And they first of all say, right, I'm going to go on holiday in March, and I'm going to go there. Oh, I fancy going somewhere there. I'm going to take another holiday then, and I'm going to have another holiday in the autumn or the fall, as our friends from the US say. And that's first of all, they say, okay, so they've split their year into three parts around their holidays, because again, we keep saying this thing, don't we? It's all about life first and business later. So your business, when you start planning your 2022, of course you're planning, the business is the vehicle to get to where you want to go, but it's more important to plan your life first. So what's happening? I've got married recently. Are you getting married, next year, or are you having your first, are you and your partner or your wife having your first child, for example? All those kind of things. What are the big events that are happening in your life first? Let's think about those. So the big events that are coming along, the life events, and then that kind of almost gives you if you're looking at a landscape that's flat, that's almost giving you the highs of that landscape. So all of a sudden you can start planning things around it. So that's to me, that would be the first thing. What life events are happening in 2022?
That's exactly what's happening. And then you can look at that. You can look at obviously adjusting, so there's a whole kind of thing. We said about this on a few podcasts ago. Like we're getting into business here and the kind of marketing sort of view. And that's what me looking at it. But I know you have exactly the same when we look at mindsetting and that whole kind of, planning out what you want to achieve from life, is that if you look at things as Google Maps, and you type in your destination. So here in the UK, we're in Bristol, and say for instance, we want to get to Liverpool, right? We know that, okay, we can put that postcode in, so for our planning for the year, that can be the end of the year. Our destination is Liverpool, right?
Yeah.
And we know then that it's going to show us the different ways. It's going to show us the way to get there, and it's going to show us different parts along the way. So we know, okay, look, we need to get to Birmingham first.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, and then we need to get to the next part. But what we get to do there is we get to adjust things.
Yeah.
So it may be like, okay, look, this is that end destination that we want to get to, Liverpool, but you know what, we don't want to go up the motorway. So actually we want to get off into the countryside. So we're going to adjust it, and we're going to go into this part. So instead of hitting Birmingham, maybe we're going to get into, this side of Wales, into the mountains, and we're going to go that way. We get to look at it that way. So we get to look at the destination, and it might be a case of, okay, look, we want to go into the mountains, but like that big event, maybe it's that we have to pick someone up in Birmingham first. So maybe we have to get to that event before we can then get off into this part. So we're sort of just mapping things out. The same as that whole kind of sat nav. We map out what are the big events, what are the milestones, what are the stops that we have to make along the way, and then how do we want to get to each stop? How do we want to move around it? If we've got our end destination now, we know the different stops in between. Well, let's adjust things around it to make it work for us.
Yeah, and coming back to the training and stuff we've already done, especially around your life goals and everything. If you've worked on your life goals and you know what you sort of in 5 years' time you want to be doing this, then you work it backwards and say, right, okay, 2022 is I'm into the second year of those kind of that 5-year life goal. I've been taking your analogy. Okay, so this is for people outside the UK. This might be a bit strange, but we're in Bristol. We've moved north because Liverpool's north. We've moved north a little bit. So next year, 2022, we're going to move north again. But it's like, how far do we want to go in 2022 out of that? What's the next milestone going to be? And I think once you have that plotted, as you said, the sat nav, then it's okay. What do we need to do to break down this year and get there? So, for example, you've got that year ahead of you. This is where we want to be. So the first thing is to break it down into quarters. Simply, as we keep telling people, break it down into 90 days. Then and then look at the first 90 days. Okay, what needs to happen on a monthly basis? So you break that down into months. And then what needs to happen? And you can go down as far as, you can even go down daily, but you say, okay, what do I need to be doing each week? Or what do I need to have completed each week for me to get to that monthly goal and then to that quarterly goal? So you're breaking it down, and it just becomes easy because it's in bite-sized pieces and not just looking at, cool, I don't know how I'm going to get to Liverpool this year. And you say, well, okay, you're easy. You're going to get to Liverpool. And for example, if you took like the motorway, you say, well, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to stop at the next services on the motorway. And that's your first milestone. We're going to take a break there, see how we get on. And do we need fuel in the car? Do we need this? Do we need that? Do we need to get something to eat before we go on to the next leg of the journey? And it really is. I'll say it's simple. Well, yeah, it is. I won't say it's easy. It's as simple as that. Is the mapping out. You don't have to make it complicated. And I think again that can be where people over plan. And it's like we say, isn't it? That sometimes people over plan and they spend so much time planning and they're not doing. But all of a sudden they think, good, a month has gone past and they're still at the planning stage, and they, you plan, and the plans will change. This is the whole thing we keep saying, isn't it? The strategy, if you like, for that year is to get to Liverpool, but the plan, when you create a plan, it's a plan to start your progress. So your plan is, right, I'm going to go up there, I'm going to go up to this junction, I'm going to come off here. That's your plan. That gets you going. But then you come to the junction and it's blocked off because there's roadworks or there's been an accident. You have to change your plans. You've got to be flexible enough to think, right, okay, hang on. If I need to get there and I can't come off here, what's the next thing to do? So you have to be kind of thinking on your feet, but you have that kind of that plan B. You can almost say, well, if I can't get off at this junction, then I know I can get off at the next one up here and go around a different route. But it's very much like the plan is to get going. And once you get going, you're still thinking about that plan as you're on your journey, but and because things may change, and but the overall strategy is to head north and get to Liverpool.
We're going to cover something, so if I don't get there, remind me, right?
Okay.
Around Plan B. Okay. Now, there's something I'll discuss about that from what you just said, and it's perfect, and it's something that I'm writing at the minute. But I just want to go back and to start off by thanking you to think of our listeners to start with, and say, look, people may not understand where we are in Bristol and the UK and that, because, we do have listeners from over 20 countries.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, how amazing is that?
That is it. Yeah. That is absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning.
We spoke about it in the last episode about reflection, Right. And I think that's just something like straight away there. It's just like, we started this podcast 6 months ago, and now over 20 countries, people listen to us, So look, wherever you are, we love you. Thank you. Thanks for listening. And so we hope you had a great Christmas time, and, or this period of time is just great for you. And, obviously we move into next year and we look at the next kind of 6 months with the podcast. And as always, if there's stuff that you want us to cover, then let us know. Get in touch. We'll put some information in the description wherever you're watching or listening to get in touch with us. And of course as well, look, we do have services that can help you. In business, in life. We've added some sales training as well coming into next year and stuff like that as well with another person. So it's like, all the kind of areas are covered to help you kind of reach your destination. But that's just a bit of a shameless plug there. It's Christmas, right? But yeah, coming back to that, I love it because there's so much there which is out of your control. Yeah, right? Like you said, we look back at the last kind of 18 months there, and we did that reflection episode where we said, look, there's things which were out of your control. There was things which you chose to do and stuff like that. And it's like moving forward, look, there are going to be things which are out of your control, but it's how you adapt to that and how you look to keep moving forward. So the whole kind of lockdowns and stuff like that, people had to adapt. I don't think there's anyone in business who has just stayed the same over the past 2 years. They've had to make some sort of changes in some sort of way. But what that brings is new opportunities and new possibilities, right? I mean, we're starting the new year, we're starting 2022, and as much as like you're an advocate of, look, it's not just about yearly goals. We're setting goals all the time. We're working them out. We're achieving them. And it doesn't matter where you set that year from. It could be in the middle of summer. We're setting a year. We look at a year because it's measurable. We get to look at it that way. But the whole kind of thing is New Year's resolutions. People will set those goals, right? And so I think it's that time where people will start looking at, okay, look, what are those goals? But the truth is that you have a blank piece of paper. So, from your life perspective, I think you've had it bang on. Look, what is it you want to do this year? Start mapping it out, and then we've got to look at the kind of vehicle that is going to help us achieve that. Because look, whenever we strip things back, it's going to come back to money. Right? It's going to come back to making money. Right? Because there's all this kind of stuff that, we want to put down different holidays. Maybe we want to put a new car, whatever it is. Okay, look, money doesn't necessarily bring you happiness, right? But it's going to give you options. It's going to give you choices. It's like you need that. So you need some sort of way to earn money.
There was a famous quote, wasn't there, from Zig Ziglar, who said that, I think he said, money isn't everything. I said, money isn't everything, but it's up there with oxygen. And this is the thing. It doesn't amaze me, because I used to be the same, and I've learned now that it's not. People don't like talk about money, and they think that earning money and trying to build on, I want money is there's something distasteful about it. It's the medium of exchange. That's all it is. And without having this thing that you exchange goods for, you can't exchange any goods. So if you don't have this thing, you can't live. And that's what it comes down to. And certainly when it comes to, if you're in any kind of industry where you're providing a service, or you're trying to help people and you're trying to make things better for people, you can't do it when you're and this is the other thing, you can't do it when you're in such a bad way, because you don't have the money in the first place. Because you can't give everything you want to give. For example, if we were constantly worried about every day we had to earn this, we wouldn't be doing a podcast. We wouldn't be putting out what we know to people and helping people along and trying to share them. Because we say, well, we can't afford the time because we've got to be on the job all the time. So if you're not when you don't have this thing called money, it can be really debilitating, and that can make you make wrong decisions, bad decisions. It also can make you just not be able to share your expertise or your value with people, And I think that, so people go on and talk about money, but it is simply, the fact is that the more you have, the more choices you can make, and the more you can help other people.
Exactly that. I can remember as well. This is going to sound really weird, but I can remember like years back watching. You get that program on TV. I'm a Celebrity, right?
Yes.
And they were off in the Australian jungle, and we had some people from the UK, and one was the old football manager Harry Redknapp. And I
Okay.
like Harry Redknapp. I always kind of watch whatever he's up to because he kind of just talks, how it is. He says things how it
Yeah.
is and just kind of talks normal. He's talking to a guy, and I can't think who the guy was, but he was in like a band here in the UK, and they were quite successful, and they were just talking, and then this Harry Redknapp said to him, what car do you have? And the guy was like, oh, I've just got like this kind of car, and it was like an average car kind of thing,
Yeah.
So like normal person would be happy with it, but for like a pop star kind of thing, it's like what's that kind of thing? So Harry Redknapp's like, well, why have you got that car? Why haven't you got like a Range Rover? You want to get one of them, like what he has or something like that. And this guy just turned around and said, I can't afford it, Harry. Harry says, well, you just got to get some more money then, haven't you? And it's like, in one respect, right, it is just that, right? It is just that. If you're there and you're looking at your plans and you're going, right, I really want to go on holiday here, and stuff like that, but you're like, oh, I can't afford it. It's just like, we just got to get some more money.
Yeah.
And like you said, there may be different beliefs and stuff like that. I remember I can't remember if we spoke about this in some training or something like that, but I remember reading a passage I think it was Andy Harrington, I think in a book of his, and he said, look, people going back years and years ago when there wasn't currency, people used to barter. They used to trade skills and stuff like that. So the baker would trade, something with whoever kind of thing to get something else, and they would trade with someone else to get something. And bits and pieces like that still go on today.
Yeah.
But what happened is you will get to a point where people couldn't keep stock of it. They didn't know what was going on, and maybe someone would give more of a favor to someone to what they would get in return, and that's how kind of currency came about and took over. And who knows if you want to get into all the banks and stuff like that, but on the face of it, that's the story of how kind of currency came about. So when you look at it from that kind of way, well, the more money you have, in theory, means it's the more favors that you've done for people.
Yeah, right? Absolutely right. Yeah.
So, you've given more to people because they've then given more to you.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of exchange, like you said, it's just an exchange. And we spoke about this in the mindset stuff in business training, and sometimes people are reluctant to up their prices or charge what they're worth, and sometimes it's a mindset thing, but sometimes it's just that kind of lack of knowledge on, okay, look, what is it I actually want to do? What is it I want to kind of offer? And like you said there, I mean, we need that vehicle to work for us. To get that money. So whether that money is that we want to buy something for ourselves, we want that money to help maybe friends and family, maybe we want that money to give to a charity, or maybe we want to look at something else. It's like, it doesn't matter what your reason is.
No, exactly.
You just have to then plan how to get it.
Yeah. And there's nothing, and this is another thing, which is, I know we're going off the track a little bit here, but talking about money, a lot of people also think that it's wrong to think that I want money just because I want to be comfortable. And I say, well, why not? Because when you're comfortable, when you're feeling in a good place, you'll be better for other people. And there's a big thing, isn't there? Certainly in the coaching world and in the self-development world, talk about that money is energy, and all you're doing is circulating it. So if you've got money it's kind of a form of energy, and if you're circulating it, it means exactly that. You're circulating it; it'll come back to you. But if you hold on to it and you break that flow of energy, then it's like putting stilts on your legs if you want to go running. You're breaking a flow of energy. Just take your stilts off. Just circulate it. And I think when you plan like you said, if you plan your year and you start with, I want a big holiday this year. I haven't been able to. We've been in lockdown. I want to go to, I don't know. Let's say I want to go to Vietnam on holiday, for example. It's going to cost you quite a bit. So you think, right, okay, so I've got to make sure that my vehicle, my business, is going to earn me enough to not only go to Vietnam, but maybe go to Vietnam for, say, 3 or 4 weeks to make it worth my while. Therefore, I've got to have spending money and all the money, and I've got to make sure that my business is going to be there when I come back, and I'll have enough money as a buffer. So there's nothing wrong with doing that. There's nothing wrong with planning that way, because it's going to make you feel so good and refreshed when you have that holiday. You're going to come back with a new experience and think, wow, that was brilliant. And you're in a different place. You've kind of grown as an individual.
That's a big for me. One last thing then on money before we look at how you can actually make it. I think that whole thing, like you just said there, is for one, it's like an experience there, isn't it? It's something that you are gaining because of that money.
Yeah.
And I listen to, you get a lot of people in the States. I know we've mentioned before in the podcast, Grant Cardone is all about, you got to get that money. Who's got my money? That sort of stuff. And like he would say, look, the more money you have, the more options you have. So you could look at getting the best kind of medical care. You could look at taking, those kind of holidays, those breaks, and maybe it's not just a case of just, taking a break for kind of luxury, but maybe it's educational. Maybe you're experiencing something like that. Maybe it's giving you a chance to go and see people that you don't usually see and stuff like that. Maybe it's that you can now afford. We mentioned it about in our program Momentum Builder, and we're talking about building out a product to sell and stuff like that. And we were talking about sports, and we were talking about athletes being a bit kind of reluctant to ask businesses for sponsorship because it's more of like a handout, and they think they're just taking the money. When actually that money there is being put into them being able to afford better training and better nutrition to make them a better athlete. And it's the same as just a person. It's like it's making you a better person by having more options and more choices there.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that, and yeah, so I think that, there's nothing wrong with having there's nothing wrong with having that goal to be earning more because you're going to be using it more. And this is the whole point. You're not being a miser where you say, well, I want to earn, I don't know, 70 grand. I'm going to keep it all to myself. You're not doing that. You're saying, I'm going to earn 70 grand because I want to circulate it by doing this and doing that and doing that and doing. Perfect. That's you've got this, that you're creating a flow of energy that wasn't there before. That's the whole point. And anyway,
but let's talk about making the money then.
Yeah.
Right? So we kind of looked at, okay, look, what's the plan for 2022, right? So you're looking at what's that destination? What are the milestones? What is it you actually want? Chances are you're probably going to want more money, right? Yeah. So look, what is that vehicle? What is that business that is going to help you achieve it? Well, look, you may have a business right now. It may be a case you're working in a job and you're thinking about doing something. The whole kind of thing here is like, look, you have a blank piece of paper.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want, basically. And the technology and everything which is out there at the minute, it's probably like as much as we've had a rubbish 18 months with lockdowns and all this kind of stuff, the possibilities that it have come out of it is actually set you up to be able to do, whatever you want, exactly what you want moving forward. Because, you could take a business that would, have to basically fulfill its services in person, in a local area. We mentioned, 20 countries are listening to this podcast.
Yeah.
It's like, well, look, we've got international clients, international members within our programs.
Yeah.
It's like, we weren't doing that 18 months ago.
No.
We worked with different people. Of course we did. We did people outside, or we worked with people outside of Bristol for where we are. But it's like, because of the internet, because of, people going on to Zoom and stuff like that, and people being more open to it, people wanting to learn more skills and stuff.
Yeah.
It's there. The opportunity is there that you can go and do whatever you want to do.
Yeah. It's been made available. And I think, it's interesting, isn't it? Because everyone looks at the lockdown and that word lockdown, it makes you think, oh God, we're locked down. But it has opened people's eyes so much to what's available. So it's actually been an awakening for an awful lot of people moving their business online that they may have really kicked and screamed to do. All of a sudden they're doing it. They're doing stuff they've never thought about doing before. And you just look at things like just look at simple services. For example, you look at the banking industry, how they've made things so much easier on online banking, which I know was coming on a thing anyway, it's grown now, but it's so much easier to do things and pay bills, and because they don't expect you to go to a branch anymore. And okay, that's unfortunate for people who maybe are losing their jobs in banks, but we're in this weird situation, aren't we, in the UK especially, but there's more jobs available than there are people to fill them, apparently. Which okay,
it's crazy, right? It is crazy, and it's just like. And that's the thing, is I think there's so much opportunity out there. You can watch the news and you can be depressed, and you may think everything is against you, but really, look, there's so much out there, and you have to take the steps now to be able to do it. You know, and it's up to you. Like, what kind of business is it? Is it making money on the side? Are you starting a brand new business? Are you adding to your business? are you changing your business to be a better kind of lifestyle business for you?
Yeah.
You know, is it a case of you've looked at the past 18 months and you've gone, to know what, we've relied on this one source of income, you know, so we want to add different income sources? Is it that you've looked at it and gone, things are out of my control, I want to bring back control? Have you looked at it and gone, well, do you know what? I was earning decent money throughout the whole kind of lockdown, but I was working flat out. I don't want to do that anymore. How can I adjust it to make it work in a different way for me?
And I think, going back to this planning thing is exactly that. It's 2022 coming on. You can see, if you really, really think about what's around, you can see all the advantages and all the fantastic advantages and opportunities around. And part of your 2022 planning has got to be, how can I take advantage of that?
Yeah.
How can I take advantage to make these things, to make my business more equipped to take those opportunities? And I think that's another big thing in 2022, is that this is what I did last year. Things are still changing all the time, and they're probably on a monthly basis. So what new opportunities are coming up, and how can I make sure I'm prepared enough so that when those opportunities do come up, bang, I can leap at the chance, instead of thinking, damn, I wish I'd thought of that before, I can't take that opportunity anymore.
That's a great point, man. It's going to come back to that thing I was saying about plan B, right?
Yeah.
And we'll look to wrap this episode up now, but just before we do, a shameless plug, we're talking about, look, making things happen in 2022. Look, we have programs that we've developed, you know, not just like the 6 months that we've been running strategy and conversions. It's not just from that. It's coming from working with businesses for the past 5 years,
you
know, on achieving, you know, setting these goals and working out exactly how to achieve them from a strategic point of view, and basically putting the right things in place to make that happen. So we've got the likes of, we've got Momentum Fast Lane, we've got Momentum Accelerator, Momentum Builder, and Progression Club. Right. So if you're new to business, you're a little bit stuck, you're trying to earn, you know, 60K, you know, we've got Progression Club. We've then got the Momentum Builder and Momentum Accelerator. It's teaching you how to do all these things. And if you want a bit of support, like monthly strategy sessions, one-on-one, those are in there. And if you're just like, look, I really need to get stuff going, I want to put everything in place in the next 3 months and have it working for me, we've got Fastlane, right? So it's all there, and lots of different kind of training and workshops that you can, you know, just get individually or whatever. But the whole kind of point is, start learning new skills, like start up leveling to give yourself options to do whatever it is that you want to do. And that brings me on to the whole kind of plan B thing, right? So you're looking at what you want to do for 2022, right? You set that end destination, that's your plan A. And you will get a lot of people talk about, right, okay, look, you need to focus on that, forget everything else, right? Just focus on that whole kind of, look, we're burning the boats because we're not coming back sort of thing, right? I totally get that. I think that's great kind of mentality where it's just like, it's all or nothing, I'm chucking it in, right? But what I kind of like is, you need plan B skills. And I started writing something the other day about this, and I'm going to create a video all about it. But for me, you need plan B skills. And I think we spoke about this once on a podcast. I said about, I was listening to something, it was talking about the military, or the SAS or the Navy SEALs or something like that. And it said that they go through a big kind of planning session. They put the strategy in place for whatever mission it is they're going to do. Everyone knows the mission, like, you know, like the back of their hand. They know what's going on. But that strategy goes out the window as soon as the first bullet gets fired. Right. And what happens then is, look, they have to fall back onto their skills. They still need their skills to carry out the mission, no matter what is thrown their way, no matter what roadblocks are put in place and everything like that. They need these skills to be able to navigate and be able to go through a different direction to reach their goal. Otherwise, they just need to turn around or admit defeat, right? So they have to do things. So my whole big thing that I think is the big push, or whatever you want to take away from this episode, just remember this, right? But up level your skills so that if anything happens, you can adapt, you can adjust, but you can still head towards your goal. Yeah,
definitely. I think that's essential. You need to have that in place. And just a very, very sort of a quick aside, and we're talking about planning. One thing that's really, what is it? The Mongol Rally. I don't know if you know about the Mongol Rally. Okay, so my son's he's not even sure if he's going to be able to enter it, because it hasn't run for 2 years because of COVID. But the whole idea of the Mongol Rally is that you have a point to start in Europe. You've got to buy a car that's less than 300 quid, just a real banger of a car. And you start somewhere in France, and it's kind of a race, sort of, but you don't have any route. You start here, A, and B is in Mongolia somewhere, and that's your destination. However you get there, completely up to you. Whichever countries you go through, no worries. But you've got this rubbish, this real old banger of a car, and you've got to get it from there to there. And the race is the endurance race of getting there. And obviously, the first one past the post is, there's a winner. But it's when people get there, and when my son first got it, when Patrick first got it, he looked, he said, "I want to do this." And my first said, "Well, how are you going to get there?" And he said, "It doesn't matter." And I thought, that's interesting. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how you're going to get there. But he was saying, "But I'll get there." So it's kind of like, it's what spares do you carry? Do you need so you can have a coat? You can have up to 3 people in a car. So is one of them a mechanic, for example, or are you just going to completely wing it and have 3 university lads who haven't got a clue about cars?
I already got my strategy for that. I'm just going to get some sort of millionaire or something, someone who's got their own plane, put them in the car. We can drive to the
station. You've got to be in a car, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, look, now we're talking.
You've got to have a car. But it's that kind of thing. You have a strategy, and you can map out all these countries you go through. But the problem is, COVID comes on, you can't go through there. Then all of a sudden you got the Middle East, all the problems there. All of a sudden you can't go through that country. Shit, they're gonna have to change and go down here. What other things do you need? So we're talking about skills, but this is kind of what passports, or what do you need a COVID pass? Do you need this? Do you need language skills? So all of a sudden you're going to drop out of this country where you may be able to get by because it's kind of English speaking, or you can get yourself understood, into a country where there's no communication, and you're going to go into a country where you think, I have to learn something in their language to be able to get me by. So you've got to get your skills enough so you can say, can you fix this when your oil sump has gone completely, for example? But that's plan B, isn't it? It's kind of like, right, okay, what else do we need just in case this is, going back to the original analogy of going up the motorway to Liverpool. If there's an accident here, or if this is closed and there's roadworks here, and what else do I need? What do I need? Do I need to be aware of driving through this particular area? And do I need to know what, that kind of bit there? And do I need to think about what do I need to go through there? And all these kind of things. I think it's just plan B is essential.
What you were saying there, I think the best way, like summing that up from everything that we've spoke about here, is that you set the destination, right? And you head towards it. If you come off in different ways and stuff like that, you can learn those skills to then, to be able to adapt and put whatever situation it is, put it to use in a different way. Yeah. But then keep you moving towards your goal. I think that's the big thing. What's the plan for 2022? Only you can decide that. Yeah. And it's like, but the whole thing is you need some sort of plan. You need some sort of destination. Yeah. And those milestones in place. Like, say, if you need some support, then we are here. Get in touch. But other than that, I guess the only thing to say, Mark, is we're wishing you a happy new year. Yeah, 2022. We'll be back. Early January to record another podcast episode and get that out, and start fresh and start helping more people.
Very prosperous 2022 to everyone.
Prosperous. That's a great word, isn't it? I think we'll finish on that one. Prosperous 2022.
Yeah. All right,
Mark. It's always been a pleasure.
Yeah, it has been indeed. Yeah. Okay. So
we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
See you all. Yeah. Cheers, everybody.